Hey everyone, Mr. Piano Tech here, and today we're going to go over vehicle organization. Hey everyone, Mr. Piano Tech here. Today we're going to go over vehicle organization. Now for those of you who follow the channel, you'll know that it's been a few months since we've done a video. That's just because we've been super busy at the shop. We've had a lot of catching up to do, which is a good thing. But doing the work in the shop does take priority over doing the videos. But today I want to go over vehicle organization. There's nothing I hate more, getting to someone's home and not knowing where tools, parts, supplies, that sort of thing is. I learned early on it's very important to stay very organized in this business, to know where everything is and keep it cleaned up and well maintained. You only have so much time at people's homes. I limit myself to about 4 appointments per day. That's usually all my eyes and ears and body can handle. And in that time, I need to be able to move from one to the next. And having the right equipment and knowing where it all is incredibly important to staying on track. And to keeping appointments right on the dot as closely as I can. So I'm going to show you some of the things that work for me and some stuff I've come up with over the years. So we'll start over here. F-150, I've had this truck for a number of years. I have a lot of miles on it, but it's done really well for me. So the first thing I'll show you is I discovered the Milwaukee Packout System. And determined that this works really, really well for me and for working on pianos. You'll see, of course, that it's locked down. Anything this big and heavy, if you have this in your vehicle, make sure you lock it down, because if you were to get in some sort of accident, you don't want this going anywhere. So, but I have their big base rolling unit. So if I'm doing work in someone's home, extensive work, I can take this and roll it in there with some other tools. And then the bigger toolkit here, then a couple smaller ones. And in a minute, I'll put these on the tailgate and show you what I keep in them. Keep here some just extension cords, and I do keep a jack, partly for my truck and partly if I need to do a repair on like a spider dolly. That works really well for jacking grand pianos up if you need to. Hidden back here is where I keep a lot of my punchings and that sort of thing, just kind of out of the way. But they're tucked back there where they don't move around all that much. So let's go around to the other side of the truck. Up front, standard stuff. I have a rack where I keep my iPad that I use for my GPS during the day. And usually in the passenger seat, if I need something real specific for the day, in my lunch and things like that, and I do recommend you make your own lunch. If you're traveling around day after day, you're not going to want to have to rely on fast food. It's expensive and it's not that healthy. So anyway, just a side note. So I don't know how well you can see in here, but just to kind of give you an idea of how I keep things organized in here, and then I'll kind of pick it apart a little bit for you. Of course, my bag stays here, and if you watch my other video on this, you'll know what I keep in here. And I keep a very strong corded drill here. I use this for running tuning pins out of pianos, as well as a lot of other things. I do keep a cordless drill as well, but I recommend you also keep something like this, because it's going to give you a lot more torque and you don't have to worry about the battery going out. And then a standard set sockets. I've had this for years and I've managed to keep all the parts to it. Pretty amazing. Moving on, and I'll bring this out back and show you. This is a container for some spare parts and such. Same thing with this container with spare parts. I'll show that to you in a minute. What I keep in here. Heat gun, lots and lots of uses for piano work. And if you can see back here, and I'll pull these out and look at these separately, but I keep a little shop vac with some different attachments. I keep a tub right here for repairs and one down there marked for cleaning, and I'll show you what's in those. Keep a pad, and then just kind of survival equipment for your truck. jumper cables, air pump, things like that I just like to keep in here. And then a bottle of for cleaning that I have here. It's just Murphy's oil soap mixed with water, but it's safe to use on pretty much everything. And tape measure, and of course keep a piano atlas in here as well to tell people when their piano was built. So I'm going to lift this up here and show you if you can see that well enough in there. But okay, so underneath here, keycaps, and just some miscellaneous stuff, damp chaser products, test roll for an old player, and I also do keep this light. I have a lot of different lights that I use. It's very important. Keep everything well lit. And fire extinguisher, shoe guards, that sort of thing. And then I also keep, if you install muffler rails, the mute rails, there's a kit there for taking measurements and installing those. And I keep some spare damp chaser parts, Velcro, screws, extra little bits and pieces. And there's also a first aid kit down in there, just in case you accidentally hurt yourself. And I keep a couple of these in here too, just for, cleaning underneath the strings on the soundboard, that sort of thing. And this is where I hide my spare set of bass strings. Keep a full set there as well. But that stays really nice and compact, and under that, and I can just close it and put my other stuff on top of it. So we'll go ahead and cut. I'll open up the back. I'll take some of these out and just show you what parts I keep on hand. Okay, so open up the back here. Now, just so you know, this is a cover. It's made by Undercover. I've used this for a number of years, and it does stay weather sealed, so when I transport actions in the back, I've never had any problem with leaking. It's really strong. You can stand and walk on it, and it comes off pretty easily too. I do recommend these, and it's also keyed to your vehicle key, which is pretty nice. But just real quick about that. And I keep this container back here. This is made by Duha. I've had it for at least a decade. It locks into a channel in there. That is mostly stuff for the truck, tow chains, things like that. Spare parts. I do keep some tools and little screws and things like that you may need, but I don't keep a whole lot in here. Yeah, it's mostly just little bits and pieces of things that I don't want to carry up in the main part of my truck. I do keep a pin block jack back here, as well as some other tools, but not too much. A couple dollies. Every now and then you need to scoot a piano around, but I use this Milwaukee one, for taking grand actions in and out of homes. And then I just lay it on the pad, cover it up, close it up and lock it down. Never had any problems. Now this is part of the Milwaukee Packout System, which I really, really liked. So this, they give you a mount that you can mount into anything, but this does come off, and I can take this and put it on top of any of the other Milwaukee Packout pieces, which I do a lot in homes, especially if I'm doing a restringing and I need to make some loops. I attached my little looper here to it, and I went to Harbor Freight and got this little vise, which works great. It's real slimline, so if you're gonna have to do some cutting here and there if you're a tech that does a lot of work in the field like that. Highly recommended. Like I said, it comes off. I've never had any issues with it. Everything's locked down really well, and I really do like it. So as for these guys that were in the back of the truck, this top one here, I'll show you. So as you can see, if you're a piano tech, you know what all this stuff is. Elbows, bridle straps, pieces of felt for hammer butts, other felt, bits and pieces, spare, repair hammer, upright hammer springs. In this one, spare A-grafts, some dampers, some ivories, and some tuning pin sleeves, shanks, jacks, toothpicks for making repairs, key buttons, just a good small little pack of things that you're going to run into every now and then that I recommend you keep on you. And in this one, you'll see I've marked the different pin sizes. These are the ones I most commonly run into for center pins, 20 through 21.5. And what I do like about this is that they come out. So if you want to work on one size in someone's home, spare flanges, little rubber grommets for the back of spinets, or jacks, jack springs, and then, you know, key leads, hinge pins, spare screws, and spare hardware for music desks, things like that. But this has worked really well for me. It's really strong. What I like in something like this is if you can take this and you can tip it back and these pins don't go anywhere, then it's really good, because center pins like to do a lot of moving around. So in my box that I have marked repair, I don't do a ton of touch-up finish repairs, but occasionally I need to. I'd like to keep some of that on me, which is what a lot of this is. But also, you know, glue, some shims, but I keep a full set of the Mohawk's markers and Blendall sticks, some tape, super glue, more blending sticks, and knobs, other little bits of hardware, things like that. Just for doing little spot repairs here and there if you need to. I don't, some, you know, blend it sticks on an edge or something, or some marker. That's about all I really get into out in the field. Most of that type of repair I'll do in the shop if it's extensive. And in this, I do keep some markers and then JB weld, which I use a lot of in pianos, especially for doing bridge repairs. Works really well. But again, all organized, clearly marked, all stays together. I can bring this whole thing in someone's home. And then the one marked cleaning, pretty straightforward. These are all the little tiny attachments that they make for the shop vac, which I use for getting in between strings around the tuning pins. These work really well. If you need to clean someone's piano out, I need to get a you know, vacuum out all around the pins. But that is made by Shop Vac, and it came in like a little kit. I just keep in the bag here. It had, you know, rags, towels, 4/0 steel wool, and Old English for dark and for light woods, and then some other, you know, Corey's high polish, some more spray, you know, your standard cleaning supplies. But again, if I'm doing a cleaning, I'll bring this in with my shop vac and my little duster that can get underneath the strings, and we're all set. So now I'm going to go ahead and pull the Milwaukee Packout System over here and show you what I keep in that. Okay, so I took off the two top ones to show you. And again, this that I showed you before, this is what I mean by this. So you can put it on top of any of these and it'll stay on there locked up. So if you're using the big rolling one and you know you're going to have to do some restringing in someone's home, and put that on there. It's just a really neat system. Keeps everything very organized. I mean, they don't come cheap, but I'm a firm believer in buying good equipment. I'd much rather pay a hefty price for something that's going to last me for years, rather than getting some garbage and having to replace it every few months. So, so this one, this is the one I keep on top typically. So I keep my drill bits, and in here I keep my Dremel, and I just keep some extra bits and pieces for the Dremel in here. It all fits real nicely in there. These are, you know, tools for repairing various things in pianos. If you're a technician, you'll recognize most of these. And then I got this kit too from Piano Tech Supply for repairing broken A-graphs. And hammer repairing tools, hammer shank tools. For doing those, I keep all together here, and some various just different driver bits that you'll need for different things. But that all stays nicely packed there. And then I'll show you this one. And I happen to slide it on here, but just to show you, this thing you can lock down any of these with that little pad there. So this one, yeah, this is more of a general tool box. Just various screwdrivers, files, scissors, and then this that attaches to my drill in case I need a little circular saw. It's super handy. Little smaller knives, and again, just wrenches, pliers, screw extractors, things like that of different sizes. Just miscellaneous, some chalk, pencils, and markers, rubber bands, little things like that you may run into. And then some little vice grips, and this cute little guy like that. And just various bits, drivers, and you're going to want to keep some of these on you. The larger ones for some of the Asian pianos that use those on the lyres and the legs. But pretty straightforward, and it does a really good job of keeping all this stuff compact. I know where it is. It's not going to slide around, and it is also weather sealed, so it can get wet. I've yet to have it really get wet, but they say it's not going to let your tools get wet. So, all right, let me grab now the other one, and I'll be right back. Okay, so here's the bigger one that was sitting on top of the base one over there. So this one I use solely for restringing. So this is my restringing kit I keep in this one, and it has a good strong handle to carry it in and out of homes. But these two I keep in here. So this is all my stringing supplies. And again, if you're a tech, you know what all these tools do and how useful all of these are. But I keep all of my restringing supplies and tools in here. I used to keep these all in a bag, and I was constantly having to dig through it, and then stuff would eventually poke through, and I just got tired of it. So keep these in here, and then underneath, these are the mallet and the hammer. I use this hammer. I don't like using claw hammers for punching in pins. I like a ball peen because it's less to hang on stuff and hit stuff. But I've been using this for years for it. But I keep these little coils. I keep one of each size, including half sizes in here. And if I'm going to go do a restring at someone's home, of course I'll bring some backup new packs of them too. But this can all be put on top of the base, and you can roll it into the home and stack whatever you want on there and have all your tools in one little location. So let's walk over now, and I'll show you the base one. I'm gonna leave this in the truck. I don't want to pull this all the way out. But this base one here is super handy, and I've gotten a lot of good use out of it so far. But in here, it's mostly kind of a catch-all. This is where I put, spare vices and spare extension cords, hearing protection, eye protection, a grinder, things, just kind of heavier duty sort of stuff, another pin block jack, duct tape, spare felt for mute rails, things like that. It's kind of like I said, a catch-all, but I keep some various tools in there that I run into, not all that often, so I keep them down in there. But again, once this is packed up and they're all stacked up, I keep it, again, locked down really securely. It'll rock it a little bit every now and then, but I've never had any issues with it, and it fits really well in the back there. So anyway, that's really about does it. Like I said, what I keep up front changes daily, but it's just a matter of what works for you, what you found works for you. I just, a few months back, started using that Packout system, which I really do like. But it's all just a matter of keeping everything that you think you may possibly need in the field. Now, if there's something that I don't use after, I'd say over the course of like maybe 6 months or something, it doesn't need to be in your truck. You could usually leave it at the shop unless you're going to do a very specific job. But it's like my bag. If I don't use anything in there in a month, it doesn't need to be in my bag. And if I don't use anything that's in the truck in about 6 months, it usually doesn't need to be in the truck. So anyway, that about does it. Comments, questions, snide remarks, leave below. And as always, stay tuned.